Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club.
Hello, Scene Atlas warriors, all of you stuck in the gears of this machine, waking up every morning, living the same empty cycle. Welcome. Now let me ask you that burning question. Have you ever felt that your own life wasn't actually yours, as if you were acting in someone else's script? You worked to buy everything around you, but in the end, the things you own ended up owning you. This awareness, this consciousness of modern slavery lies at the very heart of the film we will be exploring today. This is not just about a fight scene, a simple brawl. It is a manifesto, a rebellion against the consumer age. Since 1999, only one film has echoed underground, confusing generations, and ultimately becoming a cult classic, Fight Club. If this video wakes up that suppressed self inside you, then you know what to do. Hit that like button right now, because this is not just a review, it's a therapy session. And of course, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the secrets we uncover. Remember, the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. But the first rule of Scene Atlas, you spread the knowledge.
Fight at a time, fellas. Sixth rule, no shirts, no shoes.
The year is 1999, the turn of the millennium. The Cold War is over, capitalism has declared victory, and America stands proudly at the peak of its consumerist paradise. Everything looks perfect. Or at least it seems that way. It was in this so-called perfection that director David Fincher took Chuck Palahniuk's provocative novel and forged one of the most explosive films in cinematic history. Fincher, known for his dark aesthetic, rapid-fire editing, and unsettling atmospheres, delivered in Fight Club his sharpest critique of society to date. Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden, Edward Norton as the narrator. Two performances locked in a mirror duel of identity, chaos, and liberation. But what did the critics think? Not much at first. When Fight Club hit theaters, it was a box office disappointment. Many reviewers sneered, calling it a confusing, meaningless mess that glorifies violence. Society, at that time, was simply not ready for such a brutal self-reflection. Yet like a fine wine, Fight Club aged and grew in power. It captured the nameless void, the alienation of a generation. People began to realize true aliveness didn't come from buying their next IKEA sofa. It came from surrendering control, lying on a basement floor, bloodied, breathless, alive. That feeling, raw and undeniable, is what transformed Fight Club from a controversial misfire into a cultural landmark.
Who gives a shit? No one's watching. What do you care? Wait, this is crazy. You want me to hit you? That's right.
Now, let's delve into where the true genius of Fight Club lies. The characters. See, we're not actually talking about three main characters. What we are witnessing are three different fronts of a single fractured self. The narrator, played by Edward Norton, is modern man himself, an office drone in an insurance company. Hollow-eyed, sleepless, emotionally stunted. His existence is built around an IKEA catalog. Every chair, every lamp, every branded t-shirt. A false mask he clings to, trying desperately to assemble an identity. He cannot truly connect with people. Instead, he reaches for possessions. Each purchase, each product becomes a substitute for intimacy, a counterfeit happiness. But then, everything changes. The explosion of his apartment is not just an accident, it is the annihilation of his carefully curated prison, the destruction of the false self, the death of consumer illusion. And from that fiery rubble, Tyler Durden is born. The rebellion, the raw truth his soul has been suppressing all along.
I ask you for one thing. One simple.
And then, Tyler Durden steps onto the scene. Brad Pitt's charismatic, anarchist, free-spirited, fearless alter ego. Tyler is everything the narrator represses. His primal instincts, his raw defiance, his hunger for rebellion. He is the anti-hero who spits on society's rules. He laughs at order. He treats suffering as therapy. Tyler's philosophy is simple. Freedom comes only when you lose. When you have nothing left to protect, then and only then, you are truly free. He stands against the hollow masculinity of the modern age, where men are taught not how to fight, not how to feel, but how to consume. Tyler looks the narrator in the eye and says, "You are not you. You are what you were told to be." And his weapon of choice? Violence. Because only physical pain can tear through the fog of mental numbness. Only when flesh is bruised does the soul wake up.
What is wrong with you? Tyler Durden, Tyler Durden.
And then there is Marla Singer. Helena Bonham Carter's haunting presence forms the third and most critical component of this fractured trinity. Marla is the depressed, isolated reflection of a corrupted world. The only thing in the narrator's life that doesn't need to pretend. She embodies pure, unfiltered chaos. Honest, messy, unapologetic. Both the narrator and Tyler recoil from her, yet they cannot resist her pull. She is not just a bystander outside the Fight Club. She is the witness, the one who sees the truth, both the ruin and the possibility of rebirth. In essence, these three are not separate at all. They are the filmic translation of Freud's psychological triad. The narrator as the ego, clinging to society's rules. Tyler as the id, raw, destructive instinct. And Marla as the unconscious mirror, reflecting, observing, and silently reminding us of what lies beneath the surface. Together, they are not just characters. They are the anatomy of the modern soul. My friends, if these deep layers of Fight Club stir something inside you too, if they awaken that restless, rebellious spark, then this message needs to reach more kindred spirits. Write your favorite Tyler Durden quote in the comments right now. And don't forget to hit that like button. Your support is what keeps Scene Atlas alive. It fuels our journey through cinema's hidden meanings and forbidden truths. Thank you for being here, truly. Every comment, every like, every share, it helps this community grow stronger. Now, take a breath, because we're about to dive into the most important layer of all. The themes. What propelled Fight Club to cult status wasn't just the adrenaline, the chaos, or even that shocking ending. It was the brutal social critique buried beneath the bruises. The film's most haunting line, its entire philosophy condensed into a single truth, still echoes today. The things you own end up owning you. The narrator's life is a shrine to consumerism. Credit card debt, installment plan furniture, branded clothes stitched together with insecurity. He's trapped inside the illusion of success, a modern slave to the comfort he buys. Because that's what keeps us chained to the system, isn't it? We endure soulless jobs, oppressive routines, bosses we despise, all to afford things we don't even need. Tyler Durden's manifesto is the rebellion. Value experience, not possessions. Seek reality not from a soft sofa, but from the sting of a broken tooth. Crawl out of your IKEA catalog and rediscover your primal truth. Fight Club was never just a film. It was a slap in the face of Western civilization, a mirror reflecting the lie that happiness can be bought. Fight Club emerged at the end of the 90s, a time when men were quietly losing their traditional roles, no longer hunters, no longer protectors. The modern man was told to trade his spear for a spreadsheet, his instinct for a paycheck. Society no longer asked him to fight, to build, or to lead. It asked him to consume, to sit in cubicles, buy furniture, and behave. And beneath that polished surface, a silent identity crisis began to grow. The Fight Club was born to fill that void. It wasn't therapy, it was resurrection. Inside those basements, men stripped off their business suits, their titles, their masks. Through raw physical combat, they rediscovered the ancient ritual of masculinity. Every punch, every bruise, every drop of blood became a declaration. I exist. This was not a war against others. It was a war within, a rebellion against numbness, a desperate attempt to feel alive again. With Tyler's creation of Project Mayhem, the story mutates from a personal rebellion into a collective chaos. The underground Fight Club becomes an army. Tyler stands before his followers and declares, "You are not a beautiful and unique snowflake." At first, it sounds cruel, but beneath the harshness lies liberation. The freedom from the suffocating demand to be special. The relief of surrendering individuality to serve a larger anarchic purpose. For a brief moment, these men feel united, stripped of ego, bound by purpose. But soon, the revolution devours itself. Project Mayhem transforms what began as liberation into a new dictatorship. Tyler, in trying to destroy control, becomes its architect. His rebellion hardens into a system just as rigid, just as tyrannical as the corporate world he despised. And that is one of Fight Club's sharpest truths. Even rebellion, if not tempered by awareness, can become another prison. The bars change shape, but the confinement remains.
You fucking talk to her about me. Tyler, what the fuck is going on here?
Fight Club is built from moments that burn themselves into memory. Visually striking, rhetorically explosive, emotionally raw. The birth of Fight Club. The first fight in the bar. The narrator throws a punch, feels pain, and in that pain, awakens. It's not just a fight, it's a ritual of rebirth. For the first time, he feels something real. It was the most beautiful moment of my life, he says. Because in that instant, he escapes the sterile comfort of his synthetic world and bleeds into truth. IKEA hell. The explosion of the apartment, his shrine to materialism, followed by Tyler's brutal truth. You have to get rid of the idea that you have to be defined by your possessions. It was the death of the false self, the prophecy of minimalism long before the word became fashionable. Soap and the darkness of humor. Tyler steals fat from rich women to make soap, then sells that same soap back to luxury stores. We are selling their own fat back to them. The ultimate satire, capitalism devouring itself. Even rebellion becomes a brand. The finale, the great identity explosion. The revelation that Tyler is only a fragment of the narrator's psyche strikes like a gunshot. Because that's exactly what it is. The narrator literally pulls the trigger, shooting himself to kill Tyler, the ego's desperate attempt to silence the id. It's the final confrontation between illusion and truth. And then, the ending. The narrator and Marla, hand in hand, watching towers crumble. Credit records, debt histories, obliterated. The collapse of the financial order, and of a lifetime spent in debt to lies. This is rebirth. This is freedom.
This is crazy.
People do it every day. They talk to themselves. They see themselves as they'd like to be.
Fight Club continues to echo through culture more than 2 decades after its release. Its ideas refuse to die. Its questions still scratch at the walls of modern life. Yet, this endurance comes with danger. The film is deeply vulnerable to misinterpretation. Some took it at face value, seeing only blood, chaos, and rebellion, believing it glorified violence. But that was never the message. Fight Club does not celebrate destruction. It exposes the despair beneath it. Tyler Durden is not a hero. He's a warning, a symbol of what happens when the search for meaning collapses into rage. And still, its true legacy is undeniable. New generations, weary of the corporate grind, are rediscovering its philosophy. Young people breaking away from consumption, chasing simplicity, trading possessions for purpose. The film's words now circulate across social media, transformed into a digital manifesto for purification and self-liberation. Fight Club was never about chaos alone. It was about the emptiness of normal, the dull ache beneath comfort, the hidden scream inside conformity. And perhaps that's why, even now, it still asks each of us the same haunting question. Are you those expensive sneakers? Or are you the suppressed, fearless, slightly crazy Tyler inside you? Scene Atlas family, we've reached the end of our deep dive. Fight Club reminds us that freedom doesn't begin in a comfortable home. It begins the moment you have nothing left to lose. It teaches us to clench our fists, to rise against the system that constantly whispers, buy more, own more, be more. So tell me, is there a Tyler Durden inside you? That voice buried beneath routine, waiting to shatter the walls around your life? Are you still sitting at that desk in the insurance company? Or have you started making your own soap? To prepare this analysis, we went through hundreds of pages, dissected every frame, every line, every flicker of meaning. If you value this work, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support keeps the Scene Atlas family alive, helping us continue exploring cinema's deepest, most mind-bending truths. Until we peel back the next veil of mystery, stay awake, stay questioning, and never, ever stop challenging the system. Goodbye.